Hello, my name is Barry, and I will be teaching you some chess. Specifically, this time, instead of the queen, it is actually the king. So let's get into the basics. First things first, the king is always on the e file. And you can remember this by the king is always on the opposite color square. So if you're white, it's on a dark colored square. If you're black, it's on a white or light colored square. And so, it is always next to the queen and a bishop, and it is arguably the weakest piece that you have on the entire chessboard besides the actual pawn itself. Now, I will show you why that is exactly. Let's get rid of everything, and we'll just do this. So, the king, can only move one square in any given direction. So it can move one square here, 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 here. So it has an 8 square radius that it can move in, and it can move one square in one direction. And really, that makes it weaker than any of the other pieces, because all of the other pieces, besides the knight, who has a very special, movement pattern, can move across the board, basically. Yeah, so it is the weakest piece. However, it is the most important piece because it's the piece that you need to be protecting. It's the piece that, you need to make sure is safe, you need to make sure is in a good position, etc., etc. And yeah, that's about it. Now, there are a couple of things, mainly 2 things, that you need to be learning in terms of the king. And one of those things is the concept of castling. And I'll just put it in a fake position. Let's just do this. Let's do this, and that's not what I meant to do. Here, and then we'll put you like here, because why not? So, in this given position, it is not the best move, don't get me wrong, okay? But one of the things you can do is castling. So you can castle this way, right? And that means your king is in a much safer position because it is protected by these 3 pawns. It is now also protected by the rook. And one thing that's also very important is the fact that the rook can develop very quickly, because you can just, let's just say white plays a move like this, you can just develop your rook here. In a given game, you probably wouldn't do something like this, you would do something different, but castling comes naturally, if you need to get your king to a safer position, or you need to develop your bishop, or not bishop, sorry, rook, then you can just castle to do that. And, the same thing applies for this way, but instead of having it be, we'll just get rid of these 3 pieces for the sake of simplicity. Instead of moving like to this, you would do something like this. Now, typically, what this means is this is a much more offensive option because your king is more out in the open, but your rook is very much ready to develop usually when you're castling like this. And yeah, that's about it. With that, I think there is another video which will explain castling a little bit better. Now, let's get into some puzzles. The other thing that is very critical to understand with the king is the endgame. First things first, let's get on to this. It is black to move, and there is only one singular good move here. All of the other moves will lose to white, and there's one singular move with the king here that can actually draw the game. You can't ever win the game as a singular black king, but you can draw the game in this situation. I'll give you about 5 seconds to figure out. It is relatively difficult, but let's see if you can kind of work it out in your head as to what to do. Okay, hopefully you can try to figure this out, but the way you would want to go about this is you move your king back here. Now the reason why this is well, it's simply the only move that actually protects your king. There's this, I don't know what the exact concept is called, but here, white, if you want, you can move white to here, but it's stalemate because the king can't move anywhere. Stalemate is also going to be something explained in another video, or maybe they have already explained it. I don't really know what order it is going to be, but the king can't move anywhere, so that means that there's no legal moves anymore for the king, meaning it's stalemate. The other option is for white to push the pawn, and as you can see, the bot moved his king to this square, which means that white really only has one option, right? Well, I mean, they have as many options that they would like, but it ends in a draw because this just means it's a stalemate again. Or if you want to move your, your king to somewhere else, then you could literally just, okay, I don't know why the bot did that, but you could just take, and then it's efficient material, because two kings can never checkmate each other. Next one is going to be a little bit harder. Let's see if you can figure it out. All right. As I said, this is going to be a little bit harder, and I'm going to kind of go a little bit faster. There is only one move here that is drawing for white, and it is the exact same concept as this puzzle, where you have to push here, and obviously the king has to go here in an effort to capture this pawn and then push their pawn to promotion. But what you can do as the white piece is just go here, and then eventually what happens is, you kind of go here, and then you just, I believe you have to just go back. Go here, yes. You do the triangle. You literally just do the triangle. Yes, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, so now in this position, black can do anything. Doesn't have to push the king here. Black can push his pawn, but you would just always go back on c2. You would just go here, and then, black can do this, and then you would just always make sure that this square is open, because eventually what is going to happen is, let's just put this in an analysis. Basically, setup position, this is the position that you want, where it's literally just a draw. I don't know why it's saying, yeah, it's because of black to move. So yeah, it's just white. And this is the eventual position that you'll get if you play everything correctly. Now the last one is going to be pretty difficult. And there's one move here that is winning for white. If you play the right move, you will win. And that move, because I think it's very difficult to figure out, is actually c5. Now, what happens is you are in a defensive position to capture this pawn eventually by being able to catch up here. But the black king, because you're contesting space, is unable to catch up with this, right? Eventually, you'll go through some sort of endgame where essentially you'll push your pawn to promotion, but you're able to catch up with this black pawn. Or if they so wish, they will try to contest this pawn, but then you can just block them out of it. I think that, yeah, that's a blunder. That's not the best move, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, that's basically the best move. And with that, thank you. Goodbye.